Hello everyone, Mondevu here. Welcome to Beasts of Bermuda for Eric. Also, I have like a whole lot to talk about, so anyone who's been following my channel for a while might want to poke at this series as well, just to get some of the up and up. So yeah, I decided this will kind of be the launching point for the continuation of my Beasts of Bermuda with Eric series, but I've also got a lot of like real life crap to talk about, to the point that I've actually made a list. But first things first, I'll start with the game. As I mentioned in the first couple of videos in this series, I play on a server called Temporal Triangle, which is semi-realism. It's leaning a little bit more towards the realism stuff nowadays. And, oh, hey, there's another Ichthy. I don't know this Ichthy, but... Yee. Oh, okay. Ah, wrong button. There we go. Hey, there is another Ichthy. Coolsies. Alright, so, this is my albino Ichthy. I call him Fortune. Let's see, how many... I need to know how many males and females are in the group. Oh, okay, Bushi here is the only female. Let's see, just a moment, guys. Alright, so while I don't mind being part of a group, it means I won't be like moving around quite as much. Mostly just because kind of, you know, safety in numbers. Plus my Ichthy is on the larger size. And I really like this Ichthy. I want to keep him. He is my favorite Ichthy. I used to main Ichthy on Temporal Triangle. I had 5 out of my 6 dinosaur slots. This... sorry. The game allows you 6 dinosaur slots, and 5 of mine were for Ichthy. Because I enjoyed the profile that the people who run the Temporal Server Triangle created for it that much. And I still enjoy the Ichthy. It's just a whole bunch of BS drama aside, like, I mained it for, like, the roleplay aspect, for the story aspect. And I'm going to start working on that more with Fortune. The most interesting parts of his story are pretty much over because, you know, albino. But he's not shunned. That's not a rule on this server. On this server, the way it goes, just to kind of let you guys know, this is not the game. This is strictly a Temporal Triangle. Shunning albinos in a realism server is common because that's what happens in real life. That being said, Temporal Triangle gives you the option as to whether or not your individual dinos will shun albinos or melanistics or leucistics or whatever. And for the most part, Fortune has not experienced much in the way of shunning. So in that sense, you know, I haven't had to worry about that. So like that part of his life is kind of a not really a concern because like there's only ever been like 1 or 2 dinos that would shun, and they've let me know out of character. Like out of character as in like in the pack chat, in the group chat. Oh, okay. Any more fish and I'll get fat. Fat is not good. He's got more fishies. I will go into detail about how to play Ichthy a bit as well, but for right now, I'm just going to kind of focus on, you know, one thing at a time so that I can get you caught up, so that you can get, you know, a more interesting video and not just hear me completely and totally rambling and the tide is going out. That's how that happened. Whee! Alright. So Ichthys are semi-aquatic. Like, I can traverse land, I can traverse sea. I can traverse the sea better, but I still need to, of course, breathe, like, a whole lot more. Whereas with the aquatics, like the Elasmo and the Chrono and the Moza, they only need to breach, you know, for air for specific things. Like specific times. Or if they use too much of their energy. So yeah, that's the thing. As for fortune here, let's see, how big am I now? I am 1.582. That's a decent size. Not my largest dino. My largest dino was actually a Velo. I got her as high as 1.8. And that's the biggest dino I've ever had. And that's purely in terms of numbers, not like actual sheer size. Like sheer size, I think the biggest would be like a 5.0 Apato, which is the biggest you can get. Like 5.0 is the biggest number you can reach, and an Apato is the biggest dinosaur. So by process of elimination. Also, the reason you can hear Bushi here instead of me is because my dinosaur has Sneaky. Sneaky is an amazing inherit for an Ichthy. I wonder if I should try doing the old courtship thing since it is dawn. And Fortune is a breeder. Let's see. I'm trying to think how I can break down what all I want to say besides just tackling the list, because I want to make sure that I cover, you know, the dinosaur as well. Okay, so with Ichthys, I'm going to get onto the rock and talk about the talent tree real quick. Because I wish to be safe. And when the tide is down, that's both good and bad for Ichthys. It just depends on where you are on the map and what all your talents are. Since I can dart really freaking well, low tide isn't quite as much of an issue as it otherwise would be. You usually want to go speed combat with an Ichthy, as you can see I have done here. Fortune here was actually bred. He is, I want to say he's like a second generation Ichthy. Maybe third, because I don't recall. And you remember I talked a little bit about breeding and how you can get inherits and stuff, you know, if your dinosaur is bred versus, like, good inherits, if your dinosaur is bred versus, you know, inherits otherwise. Can you do it? You can do it. You can do it. There you go. It's not ideal, but you're up. Yeah. Nice. I did that during a flood. Where to start? Okay, so I'll start a little bit with the shrines. The shrines are there for you to resurrect your dino if it dies. You take a serious point penalty. Oh, that's synchronization. Alright, I shall nom a few just because you were kind enough to bring some. That's a decent skin. With breeding, as I mentioned before, with breeding, you know, your dinosaurs can inherit traits, and if you're just a spawn dinosaur, you'll still inherit traits, but you'll only inherit a certain amount. Spawn dinosaurs, depending on the species, each have a limited number of inherits they can have. Whereas I think the limited number of inherits for a bred dinosaur is something like 10, which is ridiculous. If Fortune here was a spawn Ichthy, I think my maximum number of inherits is 4. Yeah, I think it's 4. And you'd be guaranteed good inherits. So it would always be +1s. Now, but when you breed, if you don't have enough in good parent, you can get negative inherits, and that will impact you. So for example, let's go to the talent tree here. If I had, we'll start with the really bad ones. If I had negative, this is Aqua Infinity here. As you can see, I inherited a +2, which is amazing. That is one of the best inherits that you can get as an Ichthy, because that helps you swim through the water. You can kind of pause here as you want to and read all the text, but basically the talent improves your dart speed, your swim speed. It helps you see the fish while you're swimming, and it reduces comfort while you're in the ocean, and so on. For a semi-aquatic, Aqua Affinity is awesome. And I have a 5 in it. That's amazing. That's heckin' amazing. But if I had a negative in this might be a dinosaur I didn't want to keep. Regardless of the awesome color, this might be a dinosaur I didn't want to keep, because a negative inherit will react negatively. So if I had a -2 instead of a +2, that means I could only ever have, even if I put 3 talent points into that spot, I could only ever have 1 in Aqua Affinity, and that's not good. It's just not good for an Ichthy. It's bad news. Because Aqua Affinity stacks with your dart, and it stacks with your swimming speed. And your dart, improved dart, that's your special ability as the Ichthy. And as you can see, I was lucky enough to get a +1 in it. That's one of the main reasons I can, dart so well. Now, specifically with the Ichthy, the darting that you saw me do, where I was traveling in and out of the water, That's a dart. That there's specific talents that stack into that. So like your Aqua Affinity will stack into it. Your Swiftness will stack into it. What else stacks into it? Oh yeah, your Endurance and your Persistence and your Improved Dart. So your goal as an Ichthy is always to get like your Improved Dart, your Endurance, and your Persistence specifically, along with your Aqua Affinity. And then if you can, go up into Swiftness. If you can max out your Endurance and your Persistence and your Improved Dart, you can pretty much dart infinitely. And I've almost got Fortune to that point. Yeah, I just need 2 more points of Persistence, and I'll have him maxed out for dart with my inheritance. And as you can see, I've got a lot of inheritance. Like I said, I think he's a 3rd generation Ichthy. And let me go ahead and explain real quick what I mean by that. You know, you've got your 2 spawn dinos. They breed and have eggs. That's 1 generation. That dino finds another dino, usually, preferably one that's also been bred. They have eggs. There's your 2nd, and then 3rd. Because I think that, because I know who Fortune's parents are because I was one of them. Like I said in my Velociraptor video, you can inhabit your own eggs. So you can inherit your own traits. You would just be a different dinosaur to do so. Different physically. Like, you could still be an Ichthy, for example, obviously. But, like, you know, I played... Dancer was the Ichthy I had before Fortune. And Dancer was Fortune's mother. And I wanted to see what I would get out of the egg because I was so big on Ichthy at the time. And I got Fortune here, and I'm really happy with him. I no longer have Dancer. I actually sacrificed Dancer because I felt like all of her roleplay stories were over. I didn't feel like I could say anything new with her. So I wound up sacrificing her to a shrine, which gave me points, which helped me resurrect another dino later down the line. And a quick little... And I'll get more into the shrines in a minute, because Ichthy's and Lurdus have to approach those differently than the other dinos. But anyway... the 2 dinos that were Dancer's parents, she actually came from an abandoned egg, but I happen to know who the players were and who their dinos were that had her. And she got a lot of good inheritance, too. And they also had good inheritance, so that's why I think that Fortune here might be a 3rd generation Ichthy. Or I guess you want to count the spawn dinos as generation 1, he's technically a 4th generation Ichthy. And there's like a specific other player that I can breed with on here that, like, our genetics just constantly make albino babies, and it's amazing. So, like, it's heckin' fun. But yeah, with Ichthy, the big thing is dart. So speed combat is always a good build to go for. You want to go down your speed tree, you want to go down your combat tree. And the reason for that is that the aquatics will hunt you down. And... Oh, sorry, background noises. Distracting. The aquatics will hunt you down. And... they've got a reason to. I mean, like, you can hunt them down as well. However, I love my dart, and I love how quiet it is. Sneaky affects the amount of splashing noise you make, by the way. So the fact that I've got an inheritance Sneaky is amazing. Oh, I think I'm being courted with. Yeah, I'm being courted with. Because Bushi here is a female, and Fortune here is a male. And keep in mind, the courtship thing... is, again, strictly a temporal triangle thing. I'll just go ahead and nom these then. There you go. Yes, I accept your advances. But yeah, the courtship stuff is like basically roleplay flavor. You don't have to actually go through courtship rituals or anything with the official game. You can literally just be like, hey, you want to breed dinos? And then voila. It's pretty much just button presses. Oh, I overshot. Hashtag improved dart problems. I should probably bring a gift as well. Let's see. I don't know. Well, I know where one place to get crystals is, but it's kind of a bad idea. partially a bad idea because I know who used to camp there. He doesn't camp there anymore, but other people might get the idea. So that's why it might be a bad idea to go there. Let me see if I can... Of course, there's more than one way you can court as an Ichthy. Oh dear. Ooh. Ichthys can't take much in the way of falls without powerful legs. Yeah, without powerful legs. And as you can see, I've got 3 out of 3 in that. That's partly a survival thing, specifically for fortune. Let me go find some coral. That's what I'll do. I'll grab some coral. But yeah, improved art is good. The aquatics will hunt you. You can also hunt the aquatics, but Ichthys cannot take much in the way of injury. Like, you injure an Ichthy, you have an Ichthy. That's pretty much how that goes. Yeah, so like if you injure an Ichthy, you have an Ichthy. Oh, that's okay. Hang on. Boop. I don't know what is making the square shadow. I've seen them a few times. I think there's like a weather box or like a command box or something near here in the sky, maybe even in the water or whatever. And then it casts a shadow by mistake, and I know that's not normal. I can make this thing so much bigger, but too much of it will lag out the server, so I'm just trying to kind of... There we go. Alright, let's see if Bushi wants to court. If that's courtship or if it's just being friendly, we'll find out. We will find out, and then I'll go into more about the stuff I want to talk about, including Ichthy and stuff going on at work. Let's see. Whee! Oh, don't overshoot, don't overshoot. He's bringing corals. Well, I don't want to actually type it. You wants the egg? Is egg? Let's see. Is want egg? Yeah? Yeah, there we go. I gave him 3 eggs. Okay, so I gave multiple eggs. That's what you do as a male when you have a good parent. I have inherited a +1, so I can give up to 4 eggs. Actually, I think I can give a little bit more than that. So, yay! You'll probably want the other details. Typically, it is the job of the female to... Oh, hey, a small one! Typically, it is the job of the female to make the nesting post, which is another rule in temporal triangle specifically. So let me go ahead and give her the info I need. Let's see. His name is Jin. Growth is 1.58. Build is speed combat. All right. So, on temporal triangle specifically, one of their rules is you have to make a nesting post, and you can't just take an egg. Like, you have to react to the nesting post in their Discord with an egg emoji before you can take an egg. So a lot of people will just kind of like low-key stalk the nesting channels and nesting posts and stuff, and I'm gonna go grab more coral and some fish for my lovely lady here. In the roleplay profile for the Ichthy, they are polygamous, so I can have as many mates as I want. Same with Velociraptor. Velociraptor is also polygamous. And I believe so is the Parasaur. I think there's another dino that's polygamous as well, but I don't know which one. I don't remember which one. So I'm going to go grab some fish, both for myself and for my current mate. So, why do I want to make dino babies? Other than it is a feature of the game. Well, when you are within the vicinity of your hatchlings, you get a growth boost called Near Children. We call it Baby Buff. And that helps your dino grow faster. And the bigger you are, the slower you grow. So by way of game mechanics, the more often you want to breed. Now, in order to prevent the server from just being overloaded with like apexes and stuff, Temporal Triangle has rules in place for how often, really fish, for how often you can breed as certain dinos. I think for Ichthy's it's once or twice an hour, and that's, and then or if all of your offspring have like logged or reached the age where they no longer give you a baby buff, or died. Like those are your conditions, and even then you still kind of have to wait out the timer. And that's, again, just to prevent, the server from being completely overloaded with one dino or the other. Because people would do that with, like, Rexes and whatnot. So there's limits. Like, you can still get your baby buff, but you have to do it within, like, this time frame. Now, Temporal Triangle is nowhere near as strict as, like, Walking with Dinosaurs, which is a hardcore realism server. And while I do enjoy hardcore realism, it can be taken way too far. Just way too far. There's the fish. Alright, me being able to sniff these while swimming, that is because of aqua affinity. Normally you have to stop and sniff in order to see the fish when you're underwater. And I think that's true of pretty much all the swimming dinos. Come on, give me more fish. I wish to provide for my lady. There we go. Boop. Okay. So the tide is coming up now. As you can see, I'm having an easier time navigating over here. Oh, the weather is taking a turn. I don't mind the weather taking a turn for a couple of reasons. First of all, it makes things, it makes things more interesting. And secondly, as Fortune, part of his profile is that because he's an albino, he is blind. I actually used to, not completely, but like partially blind. I actually used to play him at like 1.3 gamma. So like when nighttime would come around, I would park on a rock and just not move because I couldn't see, which is another reason I've got 3 out of 3 in powerful legs. I play with him on, normal and higher gamma now because, first of all, the lighting mechanics in Beast of Bermuda itself changed a bit. So the lighting looks a little different now at 1.3 and 5.0 and all that. Actually, I think it goes up to 4.0, so never mind. At 4.0 and all that. And also because he is technically old for a dino now by Temporal Triangle standards. So I figure there's no more need to use the 1.3 gamma for my immersion because, he's just gotten to the point where he kind of knows where everything is already. And if you've ever seen an animal that's blind or partially blind, you'll quickly recognize that, once they know their environment, like they're not afraid to traverse it at all. And, they'll hop up on furniture and, avoid, table and chair legs and all that stuff. Brings more fish. Alright. And screenshot mode is an awesome thing because, you can totally just, like, do this. And get, like, some good screenshots. And her screenshot won't be too much different from the ones I took simply by way of camera angles. You need help down there? Am I related to this one? I'm not related to this one. It's okay, little one. Let's see, let me... E? There we go. Alright. So, it is the male's job to lay the nest. That is also an in-game mechanic. The males are the ones that lay the nest. Yay. has eggs. And now we gotta keep an eye out for our Tropios, which are a flying dinosaur, because they're allowed to steal our eggs. They're not allowed to mesh through us, like mesh as in, like, my face right now is very clearly going through her tail, that's meshing. They're not allowed to mesh to do it, but, like, they can, like, if we're not vigilant enough, they can fly by, grab an egg, and off they go. Let's see, what was I going on about? Genetics, combat, talent. What else was I going on about? Some of the rules. Oh, right. Only certain dinos will adopt as well. Like, it's not too uncommon for herbivore dinosaurs to adopt, but, like, most carnivores won't, except for Ichthy and Velo. Like, they'll adopt. Megs will not adopt, unless it's, like, certain scenarios, I think. But the Meg profile has also gone through a few big changes. Did Ace react? Let me see. Hang on. Let me double check. I'm not on Discord. This is my fault for not being on Discord. Okay, go down to the nesting posts. Nesting post. Eat. Yep. That's a yes. There we go. Alrighty. So he has one egg. That was the person that was here a minute ago. I just wanted to make sure they reacted to the post. And we have someone else who reacted too, so we'll get another one. Oh, we're getting all three. Dang, all three are. We got 3. We got 3 reacts. Wow. That's the 3 reacts is probably partially because of my growth. Let's see, what's her growth? Oh, she's 1.6. Okay. It's due to a combination of growth and the fact that we both have 4 in good parent. So these guys are going to get some heckin' good inherits. And those small ones. Okay, so I'll talk a little bit more about the Ichthy talent tree while I'm up here, because we should be good and safe for a bit. She's on the eggs, which will help give them like an incubating boost. That's a recent development, by the way. So I'll help give you an incubating boost. That's right, the blind thing is what I was talking about. Yeah, I play without the gamma being low for immersion because the lighting in the game changed, and I don't like it very much. So now I play without it, and I figured Fortune's old enough that he just kind of knows where everything is now. But yeah, so they recently added an incubation thing where when you sit on the eggs like this, the eggs will grow just a little bit faster, which is good. At least I think it's grow fast. I don't remember if it's grow faster or like improve something. It's got to be grow faster. That's the only thing that would make sense. Alright, my turn to watch the eggs. Hopefully I'm on them. Let me reposition here. I don't think I'm on them. There. There we go. Okay. The purpose of the coral is not just decoration, it also makes the eggs hard to see. Which is good when you're protecting against, protecting against egg thieves. Okay, so while I'm up here, I'll take a quick gander at the tree. Okay, so I've inherited a lot because I am like a 3rd generation Ichthy.